Hey, what's up, guys? It's Ryu here, and I'm chilling in this sweet hotel room that ESL has me in for Pro League season out in California. I had a whole bunch of ideas and thoughts on the whole PEA thing, and I wanted to make sure that I recorded them. So, unfortunately, I don't have like all of my normal gear and stuff. I don't have my game PC. The webcam on my laptop's kind of doo doo. So, trying to make it work here on the camera phone. So, I apologize for the production quality. That said, I had a whole bunch of ideas when the PEA or the P announcement came out yesterday, and I started to type up a bunch of them, which I'll probably still publish on the Selfless website at some point. Came off way more negative than I intended it to sound, but I've got some real concerns, not about P as in it's like a terrible thing or a bad thing. I just feel like they're going to constantly be fighting a really uphill battle, and I don't know that I haven't seen them recognize some of the glaring weaknesses in any of their press releases. So the first one, Jason Katz did an interview with Worldwide Gaming, I think, WWG, and they asked him a couple of questions, and there the question of like oversaturation came up, and his response was like, "Oh, well, we're going to talk to the players and make sure that their schedules are okay," is essentially what he said. But I think the actual risk isn't the players. I think it's viewership. We've already seen viewership declining, or at least being stagnant, and a lot of that is going to go towards gambling and CS:GO Lounge, and I get that. But I also feel like if you're watching your favorite team play like once or twice a week, it's fun and exciting. To watch your favorite team play 4 maps 3 times a week, probably not going to be something a lot of viewers are willing to put in the time to do. So I've got some real concerns there. And then tailing off of that, I feel like if the viewership's not there, I don't know that it's so like taking that point, like just continue to remember that viewership may not be there because of how oversaturated things already are. So then from there you look at it's a $1 million league is what they're claiming for 2017. 500 grand is already committed for season 1. And then in that interview, Jason said that the entire league, all of its operating costs, everything is covered by the organizations themselves. So there's 7 orgs in there today, and that's awesome, and it allows for autonomy. They can make up their own rules. They can do all the things that they said they're going to do with interacting with players to talk and make sure that the players are good with how the things are operating and whatnot. But eliminating all overhead and operating costs, $1 million is the baseline that they have to generate in revenue to be close to profitable, right? And there's obviously operating costs and all the other things, but $1 million is what that number is. I don't know how they're going to do that. So I've got real concerns. And then there's a lot of talk about the revenue sharing and how it's going to share revenue between the orgs and the players and casters, which is a great idea. But having worked for a company that did that and didn't make money, wasn't profitable for the terms that I was there as an employee. I think Scoots tweeted out like 50% of zero is zero. Like so the idea and the concept of gain sharing or profit sharing, revenue sharing is great, but you've got to be able to generate that. The fact that they haven't announced a broadcast partner really, really worries me, because we've seen Twitch partner. I think Twitch is an official partner for ECS. Jason Katz, the commissioner of PEA, is still the COO of Azubu. And for those that may not know, Azubu's like still out there. Still, I would say still semi-relevant. Obviously, they're viewed as very inferior to Twitch on the platform side, obviously in the market share, for certain. I don't know that Azubu would, if they sell the broadcast rights, I don't know that people are going to spend a ton of money on it, because I think, again, the viewership's going to be a little bit of a question mark. We're also pretty close to when this thing is supposed to launch. Like if it's supposed to go live in January and they haven't announced like a name partner or name sponsors or who's got broadcast rights, there's a lot of stuff that's going to have to happen in the next 3 months. Got some real concerns there. Who's going to run the league? Like they announced that the orgs are going to be funding it. Who's running it? Like, is TSM going to run the league? Like, are the orgs going to? I mean, TSM couldn't commit enough time for their pro CSGO team to make Pro League in a vote. Are they going to be able to spend a ton of time like orchestrating schedules and handling all the things that go with running a league, which is not a small task? I wouldn't think so. So are they hiring people? Do we know? I don't know. Do you know? I don't think they've commented on it. And one of the things I heard on a video today there was talks about how they want to be like the most transparent, like they want to be industry leading in their transparency. And as somebody, if you guys are or are not familiar, I try to be super transparent with the things that we do on the selfless side. Whenever we have a player that's leaving or that's left, like I answer questions. When we lost Kusta way back, I literally got on stream and was like, just bring the questions, right? I love the transparency. I think transparency is crucial in 2016, especially in esports with all these like gambling sites that such and such person owns, and the orgs that are all owned by the same group or same person. Have we seen transparency so far? The question asked to Jason Katz in that interview, like how did you decide on the orgs? Like, what was the process? And his response was, it was an organic process. Like, well, that didn't answer anything. Like, I didn't ask if it contained carbon. I don't care if it was organic. Like, how were new orgs added? I don't know. So there's like so many questions, and I just looking at it from the business side, looking at it from a hopeful participant. Like, I think I'd be interested in participating, but are they going to have huge buy-ins? Right? Is that part of the way they're going to generate $1 million in 2017? Is they go to big orgs like Optic and they say, hey, it's $500,000 to get in on this? Would it be worth it to Optic? Is Optic then going to be responsible for helping run the league? Like there's just so many things that I don't feel like we have the answers to. And I've just reading some of their answers to questions they were asked makes me feel like part of it's because they don't have the answers to the questions yet. Part of it's because they're not looking at the same thing that I'm looking at. Meaning when the question of like, is it oversaturated? His response was, oh, we'll figure it out for the players. It's like, we got to figure it out for the fans. You got to figure it out for the people that are watching. Because if their eyes and ears aren't on your league, the sponsors and partners that you're hoping to get that you haven't announced yet, they're not going to be giving you as much money as you should probably be getting if you need to generate over $1 million in 2017 to generate profit. Because then again, profit sharing is a big part of this league. If there's no profit, there's no sharing, etc. There was another point that I had there and I just lost it, but it'll come back to me here in a second. So with sponsors and partners, like we should all love and support and actively support and vocally support, not only in social media but with our dollars, products and services of the sponsors that help make esports possible. I know that feels like super sellout, but if a company makes like a really good product, a great mouse, a great chair, a great shirt, whatever it is, and they're willing to put their money in to advertise to the people watching the matches, that allows people to play the matches. It allows orgs like Selfless and Cloud9 and Liquid to have the money to be able to pay players that are going to go full time. Like, we should all love and appreciate sponsors. But when you're $1 million league and you start in 3 months and you haven't announced any, I mean, Henry and Sadakist announced like their podcast video show, and they came to the gate with like 4 sponsors before the first episode. So like I've got some real concerns there. I don't feel like it's been transparent. Like we heard rumors of it. Like I personally heard like 1 or 2 rumors that were like super unofficial. That was it. Like I don't know what's the transparency there. I think they said that there have been like talking to ECS, I guess, about kind of like negotiating rule set so the players have some influence there. That's great, but I don't, like, it hasn't been transparent to anybody, I guess, on the outside. If I'm a partner or sponsor and I'm looking at all of these different leagues, you know who I'm probably going to go to for broadcast stuff? ESL, because they're the biggest. They've signed so many deals that people don't see the headlines for because they don't follow esports as an industry. They follow like the game that they like. And then if it wasn't that, I would say probably E-League, which to me is like the gold standard of how the actual like operations, the production, the media team, the marketing, the acquisition of brand, big like household name sponsors like Buffalo Wild Wings and Arby's and Gillette, and like all the things that they were doing and pulling in more and more of these non-endemic sponsors, which is crucial for I think the long-term success of a league or competitive esports space. There's just so many things that I don't know that I've seen that, and I'm like, as I'm thinking and replaying this whole video back in my head, it's like this is coming off as like Debbie Downer to the freaking max, and I hate that because I'm generally not that guy, but I think it's a little bit more of an uphill battle and a little less like roses and rainbows than we've been kind of pitched. I've got a lot of respect for a lot of the people we saw in those pictures. Like Jason Lake, I think is one of the best owners in terms of like people. Like he's just, I don't know that I've ever interacted with someone that's like, oh, I hate Jason Lake, because I just don't think that he's ever he's done things the right way for a very long time. He's not new to the space. He's not some guy coming in with an NBA owner's investment money that doesn't know esports. So he's a guy that I think lends a lot of credibility to what they're trying to do. Man, I feel like I could go on for another 20 minutes. Like, if you look at the teams, they're announcing this as a North American league, but then they have CSGO teams that have 0 North American players. Does that mean that if let's say Selfless gets in, can I try to like lure over the players from SK and say like, hey, listen, you guys want to play in this league because there's rev share, and I can just sign 5 not North American players? Can I pick up a European team? Can I rebrand as NIP and pull in all 5 of those players? How does that work? Is it supposed to be exclusively for North America? So many questions. And then reading these interviews that have answers that don't answer anything, that don't provide any information. It's been a little bit... it's real early. I know it's really early. I'm hoping we're going to get more answers, but there's just so many things in my head that I'm like, man, this is scary. It's not an ideal time. I feel like the timing is so off on this that if it was this time last year, it would have been a home run. And now part of me is worrying that it might be a strikeout. And I'm hopeful it's not. I'm hopeful it's super successful. I love the idea. I love the premise. I like a lot of the people that are being that are included and involved or have been involved, despite personally not being involved. So I'm trying to be somewhat hopeful, but there's a little too much mystery there, and a little worried. So appreciate you guys watching this. Would love to discuss some more. Feel free to leave comments. Again, I apologize for the production value on this. I was going to walk to Fry's. If any of you guys follow me yesterday on Twitter, I was in Fry's. There's a sales guy that was telling the customer about how many DPI the keyboard had, and I was just so triggered. I ended up spending like an hour there selling people gaming mice, gaming hardware. It was pretty funny. You check the Periscope. But I didn't want to do that again today. I was going to go get a lav mic to make the quality of this a little bit better, but figured I'd give it a shot, see how this worked. Hopefully it's not too bad. Thanks again for watching.